My name is Sarah Jenkins, and I'm 34. I'm a financial strategist at a top Manhattan firm. I manage immense fortunes, my insights move millions, yet at a recent family brunch, my mother Evelyn casually remarked, "You're not important, we're just being polite including you." Uncle George snickered, and my father Arthur looked away, pretending he didn't hear. I took a slow sip of my coffee, nodded, and without a word, rose and walked out. This wasn't just a moment. It was a seismic shift, not just for me, but for them. If you've ever felt like an invisible cog in a well-oiled machine, hit that like and subscribe button. This drama, my friends, has a twist they never saw coming. We were the picture of American success. A sprawling dynasty built on my parents, Evelyn and Arthur, booming real estate empire. Our primary residence, a sprawling estate in Greenwich, was a testament to their wealth, complemented by a fleet of luxury cars, closets bursting with designer clothes, and passports stamped with exotic vacation destinations. But beneath this polished, opulent exterior, our family operated on a rigid, unspoken hierarchy where I, Sarah, consistently found myself at the very bottom. From early childhood, I was the quiet observer, the one who found solace and fascination in numbers. Marcus, my older brother, was the golden child, a natural athlete who later dove into the tech world. Chloe, my younger sister, was the charming, effortlessly beautiful one, destined to become a social media influencer. Their every achievement, no matter how small, was celebrated with lavish parties and expensive gifts. My own quiet triumphs, top honors in advanced mathematics, competitive academic scholarships, and finally, acceptance into Wharton were met with a dismissive, "That's nice, dear," and a swift change of subject to Marcus's latest sports win. Or Chloe's new modeling gig. After graduating, I built a formidable career as a wealth manager, a senior strategist overseeing billions for high net worth clients. The irony was not lost on me that I had become the unpaid financial architect of my own family's complex, often chaotic financial lives. Take the Adirondacks Lake House, for instance. It was a thoughtful, generous gift from my great Aunt Rose, the only family member who truly saw and valued me. While legally and financially mine, the family treated it as communal property, hosting countless holidays, never acknowledging my ownership or the substantial costs I bore as my parents' real estate ventures expanded. So did their financial complexity. I stepped in, meticulously streamlining their credit system, consolidating their disparate holdings, and advising on shrewd investment strategies. My efforts saved them hundreds of thousands of dollars annually, optimizing their portfolio and minimizing their tax burden. Yet, my professional achievements were consistently minimized. My promotion to senior strategist, overseeing a portfolio of billions, was greeted with Evelyn's flippant, "That's nice, dear, but Marcus just closed a major funding round for his startup." My client list, which boasted titans of industry, was reduced to working in finance, while Marcus was hailed as a visionary entrepreneur and Chloe a global influencer. The stark contrast was a constant, searing reminder of my perceived insignificance within our family unit. Chloe, my sister, mirrored my parents' dismissive attitude, often texting me for emergency funds to cover lavish expenses, even as she posted about achieving financial freedom on her social media. Marcus, despite relying heavily on my financial acumen to manage his own multi-million-dollar investments, offered no recognition, no appreciation. Even distant cousin Liam felt entitled to join in the casual put-downs. I exhausted myself trying to earn their respect, hosting elaborate parties, developing intricate investment strategies, and selecting thoughtful, expensive gifts. Nothing worked. I was the family's indispensable utility, essential when needed, yet completely invisible when not. Each slight, each casual dismissal left a raw, stinging wound. but a desperate, lingering hope that they would eventually see my worth persisted. Clinging to me until that fateful Sunday brunch. Brunches were Evelyn's unwavering decree, a weekly performance of familial cohesion. This particular Sunday in May felt different, though, promising a subtle shift in the usual dynamics. "Sarah, darling, you made it." Evelyn air-kissed my cheek, her eyes already scanning the room for Marcus and Chloe. I had arrived early, almond croissants in hand, hoping for a rare moment of appreciation. But Evelyn was already engrossed in Marcus's plans for a conference in Geneva, outlining an elaborate European itinerary for the whole family without a single consultation with me. I cleared my throat gently. When exactly in August is the conference? I should check my calendar to ensure I'm available. The cheerful atmosphere in the room instantly turned tense. Evelyn dismissed me with a wave of her hand. "Oh, Sarah, it's a family trip, darling, centered entirely on Marcus. There's limited space on the family jet." The very jet whose complex multi-million-dollar financing and intricate leasing agreements I had personally arranged, unthanked, unacknowledged. "I see," I said, trying to suppress the familiar pang of hurt. "I just thought since I manage the accounts funding these very trips, I might be included in the planning, or at least in the attendance." Evelyn's tight smile vanished, replaced by a cold, hard line. "Sarah, let's be brutally honest. We're just being polite including you here. You're useful for your numbers, darling, but you don't belong in the inner circle. You never have." The words hit me like a physical blow. Uncle George let out a small, uncomfortable chuckle. Chloe looked visibly uncomfortable but remained silent, eyes fixed on her plate. My father, Arthur, stared at his own plate, his silence deafening, a tacit agreement with Evelyn's cruel assessment. Evelyn, seemingly emboldened by my stunned silence, snapped, "Sarah is just better with numbers. She's not the fun one, the social one. Someone needed to make her understand her place." I remained perfectly still, my entire world crumbling around me. The brunch continued around me, a cacophony of polite chatter and clinking cutlery. I finished my coffee, folded my napkin with meticulous care, and rose from my seat. "Urgent appointment. Enjoy your brunch." No one protested. Evelyn was already back to showing Chloe pictures of Italian villas on her tablet. The drive home was a blur, my mind reeling. Once inside the sanctuary of my Manhattan loft, the carefully constructed facade shattered. I sank to the floor, hot tears streaming down my face, my loyal dog Luna by my side, nudging my hand gently. "They don't want me, Luna. Only what I can do for them," I whispered, the words choked with sobs. The truth, stark and brutal, finally hit me. I was nothing more than a disposable resource, a living calculator. The clarity, though agonizing, was also profoundly liberating. I was done trying to earn their love, their approval. I was done. The next morning, I called in sick to work, feigning a sudden illness. I pulled up my personal finances, a substantial nest egg, my silent security blanket, carefully built over years of diligent work and frugal living. Then I accessed the deed to the lake house. It was unequivocally mine, free and clear, purchased with Grandma Rose's direct inheritance. I pulled up the detailed statements for the expansive family credit line I had established and maintained, noting the extravagant, often frivolous spending on everything from designer dog clothes for Chloe's miniature poodle to Marcus's latest vintage car part. My meticulously kept spreadsheet detailed every single uncompensated financial service I had provided, a staggering sum that amounted to hundreds of thousands of dollars saved annually for my family. The picture was now crystal clear. Their lavish, debt-free lifestyle depended entirely on my invisible, unacknowledged labor. They dismissed me, yet they needed me utterly. My first call was to Alex, my attorney friend and former law school classmate. They said, "What?" she exclaimed, her voice sharp with disbelief. Sarah, that's not just rude. That's emotional abuse. You've endured it far too long. I'm separating myself financially, Alex, completely and irrevocably. Good, she stated, her voice firm. It's long overdue. I'll help you in any way I can. Her unwavering support sent a surge of unexpected strength through me. Within hours, I drafted a multi-phase plan, cold and calculating. Sell the lake house, close all shared credit lines with a strict 48 hours notice as per legal counsel. Transfer the family's entire investment portfolio to Julian, a trusted colleague at my firm, with a detailed professional transition plan. And finally, cancel all extraneous subscription services paid for through the family accounts. I spent the remainder of the afternoon meticulously setting each phase into motion. Each click of the mouse, each executed command, shifted something profound inside me, slowly but surely replacing the insecure, approval-seeking girl with a self-assured, determined woman. I made one last call to my wise Aunt Helen, who listened patiently. Protect your peace, Clara, she advised softly. You're strong enough for this. Doubt flickered, but then Evelyn's cruel words echoed in my mind. The cycle would never change unless I broke free. That night, I slept more deeply and peacefully than I had in years. The Adirondacks real estate market was surprisingly active. Just 3 days after listing the lake house with my agent, Maria, she called with an incredible offer, $20,000 above asking, an all-cash offer with a closing date set for a swift 2 weeks. The lake house, their family legacy, their communal haven, would soon be irrevocably gone. A fleeting pang of guilt, a ghost of sentimentality, then Evelyn's cold words from brunch hardened my resolve once more. Accept the offer, Maria. I want this done as quickly as possible. I poured myself a glass of wine, a small private toast. The first domino had fallen. I wasn't enjoying hurting them. I was simply refusing to be hurt any longer. The very next day, armed with a clear mind and a steady hand, I visited my bank to formally close the shared family credit lines. David, my personal banker, raised an eyebrow in surprise. The entire line, Miss Jenkins? That's a rather substantial account. Yes, David, the entire line, I confirmed calmly. Please ensure that all associated users receive a 48-hour notice of closure as per the terms. I offered him a polite, professional smile. Necessary change in family financial arrangements, nothing more. Each signature I penned was an act of deliberate severance, cutting a tie that had bound me for too long, back in the quiet solitude of my loft. I drafted a series of emails, one after another, streaming services, gourmet wine clubs, Chloe's extravagant fashion box subscriptions, Marcus's exclusive private jet club membership, Arthur's niche art collective, all meticulously canceled or transferred to their direct responsibility. The investment portfolio transferred to Julian was the most complex, but I ensured a seamless, perfectly documented handover. Personal reasons, I told him, a vague explanation he accepted without question. He agreed to proceed with the transfer immediately. I spent a grueling 8 hours creating detailed, comprehensive financial summaries for each family member. These documents meticulously outlined the changes, the necessary actions they needed to take, and provided new contact information for their former services. My phone buzzed constantly with confirmation emails, each one a small victory, a boundary firmly asserted. That evening, my phone vibrated with a text from Chloe. Something weird with my fashion box. Payment invalid. Fix it? I didn't respond. This, I knew, was just the very tip of the iceberg. The following morning, the lake house sale officially closed. A monumental weight, one I hadn't realized I was carrying, lifted from my shoulders. By the end of that week, all my carefully planned actions were fully executed. I settled in, awaiting the inevitable storm. Saturday night, exactly 1 week after that fateful brunch, I sat on my balcony with Luna, enjoying the crisp evening air. Then my phone lit up, flashing with notifications. The family group chat exploded. Marcus, private jet club canceled. What the hell, Sarah? Chloe, all my subscriptions are canceled. My life is falling apart. Sarah, this is all your fault. Arthur, Evelyn's art delivery was refused. Sarah, explain this immediately. Evelyn, housekeeper direct deposit didn't go through. Call me instantly. This is unacceptable. Their panic spiraled, a chaotic torrent of messages. My phone vibrated relentlessly. First mother, then father, then Marcus again. I sent a single calm text to the group chat. I've made comprehensive changes to the financial arrangements. Nothing illegal or improper has occurred. I'll explain everything in person next weekend. Then, with a profound sense of peace, I turned off my notifications. The irony was sweet, almost poetic. They had dismissed me, and now they desperately, utterly needed me. Sunday morning. Uncle George's name flashed on my screen. I answered, "What is going on with the lake house, Clara?" "My neighbor says a new couple bought it from you." His voice was strained with disbelief. "That's correct, Uncle George," I replied, my voice steady. It was my lake house, legally and financially mine, and it was my right to sell. "But that's the family vacation property. You can't do this to us," he protested, his voice rising. "My ownership, my decision. It is no longer available to anyone in the family." I hung up and blocked his number. Calls poured in all day from parents, siblings, and extended family members, a relentless barrage of anger, confusion, and growing desperation. I ignored them all, finding peace in a quiet bookstore, a small cafe, and a long, reflective walk through Central Park. By evening, the tone of the voicemails shifted dramatically, from fury to worried inquiries, then to outright pleas. Evelyn's last voicemail almost sounded genuinely concerned. I deleted it without listening past the first few words. Monday, Julian, my colleague, emailed me. Arthur was concerned about the portfolio transfer. I replied firmly, "I am the authorized manager of those accounts. Proceed as planned. If you are uncomfortable, I'll transfer the entire portfolio to another firm." Julian immediately backpedaled, confirming the transfer would proceed without further delay. By Tuesday, full-blown panic had set in among them. Evelyn sent a veiled, almost apologetic text. "If this is about brunch, darling, I spoke too harshly. Forgive me." Marcus cut straight to the chase. "I need access to investment accounts ASAP for a St. Bart's property I'm looking at." A chilling illustration. I was the unseen enabler, and they couldn't function without me. Wednesday morning, Arthur called, his voice tight with desperation. Credit cards declined everywhere. "What did you do, Sarah?" I closed the shared credit lines. "Dad, my right as the primary account holder." "Why? You're throwing us into utter chaos," he yelled, his composure finally cracking. "Sunday brunch, Dad, your silence. A lifetime of being valued solely for what I provide, not for who I am. I'm done. This is my boundary. We need to discuss." "This is a family," he pleaded, his voice softer now. "We will," I confirmed, "Sunday at noon. My loft. We will discuss everything." The following Sunday, they arrived at my loft, a trio of discomfort and simmering resentment. Evelyn critically eyed my apartment, a subtle sneer on her face. Arthur, ever the patriarch, attempted to take charge. "We need an explanation for your concerning and highly disruptive actions, Sarah." "Before that, Dad," I interjected calmly, "I want to address why these actions were necessary." Evelyn interrupted, her voice falsely sweet. If this is about brunch... Darling, I spoke too hastily. I'm sorry. This isn't about one comment, Mother, I countered, meeting her gaze steadily. It's about decades of being valued solely for what I provide, not for who I am. It's about Marcus and Chloe receiving effusive praise for minimal effort, while my significant contributions were dismissed as merely numbers. It's about Dad's perpetual silence, which always spoke louder than any words. Arthur shifted uncomfortably in his seat. Family dynamics are complex, Sarah. They are, I agreed, a grim smile touching my lips. Which is precisely why I've simplified mine. The lake house was mine, and I sold it. The credit lines were in my name, and I closed them. The subscriptions were on my cards, and I canceled them. The investment portfolio has been transferred. My direct financial ties to this family are now completely severed. But why? Chloe demanded, finally showing a flicker of genuine concern. Why punish everyone? I'm not punishing anyone, Chloe, I clarified, my voice firm but calm. I am simply establishing necessary boundaries. There will be no more free financial services, no more managing your finances, and I will attend family events only when I am genuinely wanted, not as an obligation, not as a convenience, and certainly not as invisible support. And how are we supposed to know when you're genuinely wanted? Evelyn challenged, a hint of her old arrogance returning. It's actually quite simple, Mother, I replied, meeting her gaze steadily. Invite me because you genuinely want my company, because you value my presence, not because you need something from me. Ask my opinion because you truly value it, because you ... I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. And if my story touched you, please subscribe, and share with someone who might need to hear that it's okay to put their own well-being first and find their own self-worth. Thank you for listening to my journey.